A Paul George trade is breathing down the Indiana Pacers' necks at this point. He's got one more season, and then he's got that player option. It's the classic thing of, do you trade him now, or do you ride it out and hopefully he'll stay and you can put together a winning team to incline Paul George to stay? I mean, all the rumors are there that he wants to go to the Lakers, which kind of confuses me based on him wanting to win and the Lakers given their young situation, but whatever, the rumors are still out there. Do the Pacers have a chance to have a winning team next season to where they don't have to trade Paul George, or are they just facing the inevitable at this point and they should just kind of get on it now, or will they end up making the decision midway through the year or whatever? I believe they're at least going to make an attempt at being a winning team and winning over Paul George. Probably the best way to go about it as well, because with a guy as good as he is, and still only 27 years old, it makes all the sense in the world that you want to push it, not to the wall, because then you might not get as good of an offer, but you at least want to see the team you have. And if we can talk about the team that he does have right now, first and foremost, Indiana has to re-sign Jeff Teague. As the season went along, he definitely got better for them, and he was probably about a mid-tier NBA point guard, pretty solid offensively, gives them another guy who can create a bit, do something in pick and rolls, and be a good enough playmaker. You know, I have no problem with them re-signing Jeff Teague to like $20 million or something this offseason. He's 28, still has some time left. I say $20 million because that seems what it's going to be for like a solid starting point guard nowadays. That'll take them to about $98 million in salary. And the other guy who they really need to consider re-signing is going to be CJ Myles. I would 100% bring him back because you're going to need his shooting. You don't really have another two guard who can really give you the floor spacing he gives you. You have Monte Ellis, he sucks. You have Lance Stevenson, who's good with the ball in his hands, but playing off ball and outside shooting, I mean, the Charlotte Hornets asked him to do that, and, well, he was terrible at it. But CJ Myles is a knockdown shooter, so you want to bring him back, and that will take you over the cap, and I'm pretty sure that's all you could do, because unless I drastically misunderstand the mid-level exception, you can only use that if you enter free agency already over the cap. So unless I just completely misunderstand that, you're not going to have the opportunity to get like a backup point guard or maybe a backup big who can do some stuff to replace Al Jefferson. But if you do have that, then awesome, go for it. But then if we look at the team itself, you know, if they're walking into the next season with Jeff Teague, CJ Myles, Paul George, Thad Young, Myles Turner, it's the same starting lineup that they had this season, but the one big difference could be Myles Turner could take that third-year jump. What I liked the most about him this season was he became a real three-point shooter, as he shot 35%, or just about 35%, while taking about 1.5 threes a game. I do think people got a little too excited and they thought he was going to be better than he actually was for his second season, which is part of the reason why so many people predicted that the Pacers were going to be like one of the best teams in the East. He had a nice second year, okay? 14.5 points, 7 rebounds, 51% from the field, 2 blocks a game, so he seems like he can be a real defensive player. Is the third season going to be the one where he just explodes and averages like 20 points? I wouldn't go that nuts. I could see him averaging 17, 18 points, being a really good three-point shooter at the big man position, and getting better defensively, which will be an awesome piece. Is it the second star that'll elevate Indiana to one of the better teams in the NBA? Probably not, but it's the type of guy who can help you win enough to where Paul George sees that and goes, okay, I might stay here. Besides that, a lot of questions still. I mean, defensively, Jeff Teague and CJ Myles is not that good of a starting backcourt. Lance Stevenson is a solid starting shooting guard, but then you have the questions about, can he actually provide you any spacing? Glenn Robinson III would probably be the best combination of the two, three-point shooting and defense. But does he really give you enough when it comes to creating ability? I don't know. They have 3 options at the shooting guard position, and none of them are like the perfect two-way player for them to put next to a Paul George or whatever. But they're still nice players overall. Thad Young's three-point shooting was a bit of a surprise this season. He shot 38% from out there, which is pretty damn good, but at the same time, he only attempted about 1.5 threes a game, which in today's NBA, having a power forward who can take like 3 or 4 threes a game and shoot 38%, that's pretty damn valuable. So I do fear that Thad Young is still going to provide them with some bad spacing at times. Sometimes it'll be good, but sometimes it won't be, which is not like perfect. But if Myles Turner really takes off with his three-point shooting, then you can kind of make it work. You can have enough guys around the perimeter, and it's not just going to be a log jam in the paint. Now, if there's times when Lance Stevenson and Thad Young are on the floor, you might have some moments, but although then again, because I've been crapping on Lance Stevenson's three-point shooting the whole video, in the playoffs, given it was only 4 games, but Lance took 4.5 threes a game against the Cavs, and he shot 39%. And, I mean, he was damn good for them in the playoffs. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 51% from the field. And Lance Stevenson has had seasons where he's been a decent three-point shooter. Way back in 2014, he shot 35% from out there while taking around 3 a game. And, I mean, he shot well from 3 for the Clippers in like the 16 minutes a game he would play. He's had little moments here and there, but he's never consistently been a guy to really be willing to play off the ball like that. And I think it could just provide some problems for these guys. And Nate McMillan as the head coach, I just don't think this guy knows how to put an offense together that can be really good if there's not a crap ton of spacing on the floor. So I fear that Indiana's not going to take the big jump unless Myles Turner just really elevates to another level. So that's not good. And it's not like they have all the options in the world of adding talent, because they have to re-sign Jeff Teague, and then you're pushing right up against the salary cap. As far as any trades that Indiana can make, they have their first round pick, and by all accounts they're willing to move it. It's number 18. Is the 18th pick in the draft enough to get you a real difference maker? Well, maybe. I don't think it's going to get you a starter who can play 35 minutes a game, but a quality role player. Perhaps they're on a 1-year deal with their contract or something. Yeah, I could see it at that point. But still, do I think Indiana is one of the 4 best teams in the East? No. Unless Myles Turner really takes off. And if that's the case, yeah, it seems like a Paul George trade is going to happen. If we look at, like, one team in each conference who could make a move, of course the Celtics are the team in the East. I could see Indiana going down from their demand of, like, what was it? Between Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, Marcus Smart, and Jaylen Brown, they would want like 3 of those 4 or something. You probably go down from that. Now, would I trade the number 1 overall pick in the draft for Paul George? Probably not, for a few reasons. Markelle Fultz would be significantly cheaper. I don't think Paul George and even Gordon Hayward together. Could you beat Cleveland? I mean, you might have to give LeBron another year or 2 to decline. And at that point, it's like, I don't know. I just feel better about keeping the number 1 overall pick if you're the Celtics. If you could move Brooklyn's 2018 pick and maybe Jaylen Brown thrown in there, that might be a different conversation. And I could see something like that happening, but I would not give up the number 1 overall pick for Paul George. If I look at the Western Conference, the one team that jumps out at me is the Oklahoma City Thunder, which I've talked about this one before. I mean, Victor Oladipo in a first-round pick, does it set you on the path to a beautiful rebuild? No. And you're going to have to include more than just Oladipo in a first, probably. But, I mean, we've seen it in the past few trades for big players. DeMarcus Cousins, Nerlens Noel, Rajon Rondo back when his stock was high. Like, if a dude's on a 1-year and everybody knows that the team he's on is desperate, you're typically not going to get equal value back for the guy. And if that's the case, maybe that's the move you go with. And then, you know, Paul George could be on Oklahoma City, and he's with Russell Westbrook, and, I mean, he's not Kevin Durant, but he's a similar mold of player, and that would definitely elevate the Thunder. I've talked about the idea of Cleveland trading for him. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for Indiana, just because Kevin Love's like 28 or 29 years old. But crazier things have happened in the NBA, of course. I don't know, man. Indiana's in a tough spot. I think they're really going to be relying on Myles Turner to take that big leap, and then they could get into the top 4 of the Eastern Conference, maybe. but I don't like the head coach. I still think the team has some spacing problems. The best way to put this is Indiana does not shine in any one area of the floor. Like last season, they were 15th in offense, 15th in defense, and it's not a surprise. Like, they're cool. They're good. But when you're just good or okay on both sides of the floor, you win 42 games, and that's what they did. So, for the sake of the Pacers and Pacers fans, I hope you guys do well this season. I hope Myles Turner takes off, and I hope you don't have to trade Paul George.